In the long, iron-clad history of bodybuilding, a history filled with giants of mass, towers of muscle, and behemoths who dominated the stage by sheer density and size, there stands one man who defied the trend. One man who proved that bodybuilding is not merely the pursuit of being the biggest, but rather the art of becoming the most beautifully built. His name is Frank Zane. To many, he was not just a competitor. He was a Renaissance artist, a sculptor, not of marble, but of flesh. A man who entered a sport of titans with a different philosophy. Bring harmony, not chaos. Bring proportions, not excess. Bring symmetry, not volume. This is the historic journey of Frank Zane, the aesthetic god of bodybuilding, the living embodiment of the golden era ideal, and the man who changed the meaning of perfection. A scholar before a champion. Frank Zane wasn't a man born into bodybuilding fame. Before the trophies, before the fame of Venice Beach, before the legends whispered his name, Frank was a quiet, introspective student from Pennsylvania, a thinker, a teacher, a mathematician. Yes, mathematics. He held a bachelor's and later a master's degree in education. He taught in classrooms before he conquered theaters of iron. Numbers, angles, proportions, symmetry. The logic of mathematics became translated into the logic of physique. Where others saw bodybuilding as an arena of brute force, Zain approached it like geometry, the human form. He wasn't trying to overwhelm the eye. He was trying to please it. The rise of a new aesthetic. Most bodybuilders of the 60s and 70s followed one rule: more muscle is better muscle. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sergio Oliva, Lou Ferrigno, these were men who embodied mass, power, and intimidation. But when a young Frank Zane stepped onto the stage, the crowd did not gasp in shock. They stared in admiration. This was different. The chest flowed seamlessly into the shoulders tapered into wafer-thin obliques. The waist narrowed like a classical statue. The lats flared like wings of an angelic form. Where others seemed engineered, Zain looked designed. His body wasn't shouting, it was whispering, and yet that whisper echoed louder than any roar. The battle with mass monsters. To understand Zane's legacy, one must appreciate the courage it took. He wasn't just competing against bigger men. He was competing against the ideology of bodybuilding itself. The judges, the audience, even many athletes believed, if you want to win, you must be huge. And yet, at the 1968 Mr. Universe, something happened. Zain stood beside Arnold Schwarzenegger, a man much larger, visibly dominant in size, and Zain defeated him. That day, the world learned size is not everything. Arnold himself acknowledged it later. Frank had symmetry, form, and an artistic quality that outmatched mass. That victory didn't just earn a trophy, it shifted the direction of the entire sport. The Golden Era icon. During the 1970s in Venice Beach, at the legendary Gold's Gym, a new cultural movement was forming. A brotherhood of iron, a revolution of aesthetics, a new mythology of body. And among this pantheon, Zain was the philosopher, a thinker in a world of doers. He spoke of the mind-muscle connection before it was fashionable. He practiced meditation, visualization, posing artistry. He trained not just his biceps, but his consciousness. In an era of bulldozer bodybuilding, he was the scalpel. In an era of concrete forms, he was the brushstroke. The elusive ideal, proportion. Zain's waist was 28 inches, his chest 46 inches, a V-taper so sharp it looked unreal. Every muscle had its place. Every line served a purpose. He didn't want to be the biggest. He wanted to be the most complete. He spent obsessive hours posing, not performing, crafting. Every angle, every transition, every stance practiced like choreography. Zain wasn't showing a body. He was presenting a sculpture. Three-time Mr. Olympia. Then came the years of glory. 1977, 1978, 1979. Frank Zane, Mr. Olympia, 3 consecutive titles. And note, during these years, he beat men who outweighed him by 30, 40, even 60 pounds. How? Because bodybuilding was judged not simply on numerical measurement, but visual perfection. Zain came in leaner, sharper, more polished. He possessed that shimmering quality, the aesthetic glow. Fans didn't just see his body, they felt his presence. The injury that cost a crown. In 1980, Zain prepared for what could have been his 4th Olympia title. He was ready, arguably at his greatest condition, but fate intervened. Just weeks before the event, a freak accident involving a heavy dumbbell left him severely injured. Ribs and internal trauma. He still competed. He walked onto the Olympia stage not at full capacity, but out of loyalty to the sport and respect for the audience who adored him. The title went to Arnold that year in one of the most controversial decisions in bodybuilding history. Some say that had Zain not been injured, the result would have been different. But Zain never retaliated with bitterness or anger. He remained the gentleman of bodybuilding. Beyond competition, the teacher of aesthetics. After his competitive era, Frank Zane reinvented himself once again, not as a legend of the past, but as a mentor for the future. He opened the Zain Experience, a bodybuilding retreat where knowledge meets physique, where philosophy meets iron. He wrote books, developed training principles, and continued to preach the doctrine of look good first, grow second. Even today, decades after Frank Zane's prime, Zain continues to inspire athletes who chase aesthetics over excess. The philosophy of beauty. Frank Zane didn't just build a body. He built a belief system. In a world that values extremes, he chose moderation. In a culture obsessed with bulk, he chose elegance. In a sport of warriors, he chose artistry. To Zain, bodybuilding was never violence against the body. It was collaboration with nature. He didn't try to dominate the human form. He tried to perfect it. Legacy of the aesthetic king. Today, when modern bodybuilders look back at the golden era, they see Frank Zane not as a competitor, but as a standard. He remains the symbol of the perfect male physique. Not grotesque, not mutated, not monstrous, but balanced, refined, timeless. Ask sculptors, ask artists, ask physiologists, even the everyday viewer. They will tell you Frank Zane represents what the human body should look like at its peak potential. His body could stand next to the statues of ancient Greece and not appear out of place. The immortal physique. There are bodies that age, and there are bodies that transcend time.